This is a film about Chin Na, the art of catching and locking. Chin Na is not a separate discipline. It is a required part of any style of traditional Chinese Kung Fu. But due to the tendency of developing Kung Fu as a sport, with time such an important element as Chin Na could be completely forgotten. For that reason, we find it is important to separately focus on this part of traditional Chinese Kung Fu. In this program, you will become acquainted with the basic elements of practical principles of Chin Na. When practicing Chin Na, strength is not an issue. Instead, you should seek to find the weaknesses of your opponent's body. In addition to that, it is important to pay attention to the movements of your legs, as efficiency of the exercises you're doing depends on the right locations of your body relative to your opponent. In the basic warm-up program, every exercise should be done 20 times in each direction. Make sure your movements follow the correct course and avoid any sudden or sharp movements. Warming up is an important part of preparing for the exercises and should be done carefully. Just as any other training session, basic warm-up program starts with breathing. Take deep breaths. When moving upwards, breathe in. Conversely, when moving downwards, breathe out. Joint mobility exercises are essential for the basic Chin Na warm-up program. The first exercise is turning of the head. Place your feet together and remember to keep your eyes wide open. The movements should be wide and smooth. Second exercise, wrist rotations. Extend your arms forward, keeping them slightly bent. Clench your fists firmly and circle them outwards, then inwards. Third exercise, enhancing the elbow joint. Hold one arm in front of you and swing it at the elbow. Then do the same with the other one. Then hold both arms in front of you and swing the forearms in front of you first inwards, then in the other direction. Next exercise, shoulder rotations. This is the basic exercise for developing the shoulder joints. Next exercise, shoulder rotations. This is the basic exercise for developing the shoulder joints. After this, do 2 sharp jerks to the sides with the arms slightly bent and fists clenched. The next exercise is intended for developing the upper and middle part of the back spine, side-to-side elbow jerks to the back. The turning is done on an imaginative horizontal circle around you without shifting the center weight of your body from one side to another. Last one in the arm warm-up is behind the back arm jerks. This is a necessary exercise for stretching the chest muscles and shoulder joints. The next step is developing the waist. Waist rotations are done as wide as possible, keeping your hands on your hips and your feet pointing slightly outwards, a bit wider than your shoulders. While performing this exercise, make sure that you bend in the waist as much as possible so to ensure the amplitude of motion and the bending at the waist is as great as possible. Rotating the frame in a wide circle. Feet are slightly wider than your shoulders. Rotate your frame at the waist. Remember to keep your eyes wide open during this exercise. Next exercise, turning and bending to the side. When turning, hold your knees straight and turn at your hips to the maximum. When bending to the side, make sure you point your chest slightly upwards. We finish the warm-up by doing a fixated forward bend, hands together behind your back. Stand with your feet at shoulder width, knees and back held straight. Hold the position for approximately 30 seconds. We begin leg warm-ups with stretching the knees. Stand with your legs slightly wider than your shoulders and rotate your knees inside, then outside. The movements should be smooth and wide. Next exercise, circle leg swings outside in and inside out, feet shoulder width apart. While performing this exercise, the legs should always be straight, toes pointing at you, and hips should be held towards your body. Next exercise, lifting of the knee followed by a wide step to the side while holding your legs straight. Next exercise, deep squats. Feet shoulder width apart, hands on hips. While doing the squat, we bend the knees and kneel on one leg while the other knee is turned to the side. At the same time, you should not be turning left and right. Next exercise, low transfers from one leg to the other leg. The transfers should be as smooth as possible and as low as possible. The heel of the stretched leg should always be on the ground. We end the joint mobility warm-up by breathing deeply. The following exercises are meant for strengthening the fingers and the forearms. The first one is finger push-ups. Place all 10 fingertips on the floor and do no more than 10 push-ups to start with. The push-ups should be full and continuous. Next exercise, push-ups on 4 fingers without thumbs. Then push-ups on 2 fingers, the thumb and the index finger. Be careful during this exercise. Only do as many as you can. The progress should be gradual. Note, while doing special exercises, you should move from simple to complex. Next exercise, finger jump push-ups. Be careful while doing this exercise. It is difficult and requires practice of the previous exercises. Next exercise, wrist training. Take a position standing on your wrists and alternating between landing on your wrists and palms. The next exercise is for finger strength development. Choose the weights that suit your abilities and allow you to do the exercises no less than 10 times. Hold the weights with the tip of your fingers and lift them in front of you without bending your arms. For the next exercise, you will need 2 long sticks. Pick up the sticks at one end and swing them up and down by using only the strength of your wrists. Make sure that the movements are continuous and without jerks. The next exercise is rotating the sticks in circles in front of you, using only your wrists and holding your arms straight, just as in the previous exercise. The following exercise is intended for strengthening your hands. Do the movement smoothly and grab the opponent's wrists at the end of the movement. The next one is analogous to the previous one. Developing the fingers without a partner. Lock your fingers in a tight grip and pull as hard as you can to each side. Next exercise, lock your fingertips and apply maximum pressure. The next exercise is intended to develop a fast grip. From a horse stance, perform a straight punch with a vertical fist, and then swing your lower arm outwards into a block and hold your wrist and fingers straight. Then, do a grip forward, jerking your palm down and slowly close your fist while building up tension. Assume a horse stance and punch with both palms in front of you. After the punches, slowly do similar grips with your hands and in a sharp movement pull your arms back to the original position. Special exercises for developing your hands and forearms should be done no less than 20 times in one set. Techniques of Chin Na can be split into 4 different groups: wrenching the bones, divisions of muscles and tendons, closure of the airway and blood veins, and attack on tender points. The first and second are the basics and include 72 aspects. In this film, we won't look at all of the techniques, but we'll get acquainted with the most basic principles. The third and the fourth groups are advanced techniques, which require thorough knowledge of the anatomy. For this reason, after the basic techniques have been studied, each student progresses to these individually. Basic finger grips. Pay special attention to the firm grips on 3 or 4 fingers of the opponent. In all movements of Chin-Na, be smooth and careful, as by doing these exercises with too much force, you may injure your opponent. Thumb impact. After the grip, pay attention to how the wrist puts pressure on the opponent's thumb, using the strength of the forearm. The twist of the wrist intensifies the effect. Wrist impacting. After parrying the punch, take a firm hold of the opponent's wrist and twist it outwards. Impacting the joint and the wrist. Make sure to keep control of the opponent in a hurtful grip when shifting from the elbow to the wrist. Basic wrist impact. When doing this exercise, the elbow should be bent throughout the whole movement. An alternative to impacting the wrist. After the grip, control the opponent firmly. Impact on the wrist using the elbow. This exercise requires the same principles as the previous two. Next exercise, elbow pressuring. Here we have a continuous twisting of the opponent's elbow until the end of the movement. Next exercise, impacting the wrist with pressuring the elbow. Make sure the opponent's elbow is straight. To do so, secure it from the outside with your free hand. Next exercise, defending from a high attacking fist. Here the impact is on the elbow joint. Secure the opponent's elbow at a 90 degrees relative to the shoulder. This boosts the effect of the impact. Impacting the shoulder joint. When doing this exercise, turn the opponent's arm around its axis while holding the elbow straight. Place your shoulder under the opponent's armpit. This will increase the effect from the movement. Defense from a punch to the stomach with securing of the shoulder. Upon the attack, do a low circular block, while at the same time stepping to the side and secure the opponent's shoulder joint. Hold the opponent's elbow straight. Defense from a punch to the face with impacting the neck. When the opponent attacks, move to the side while blocking the punch. Then, turn the opponent's head backwards with your free hand. Be careful while doing this exercise, as the neck bones are very fragile. At the end of the movement, hold the neck and the shoulder in the painful position. Counterattack defense. Do a forceful block at the area of the opponent's elbow, while at the same time doing an ascending blow to the groin. Then, use your free arm to lock the opponent's head in the neck. Another alternative defense from a blow to the head is a painful locking of the neck and shoulder party with impact to the knee. Step to the outside while blocking, then side kick opponent's knee, followed by locking of the shoulder and twisting of the neck. Defense from a kick with a lock of the opponent's Achilles heel and the knee. When the opponent attacks, move slightly backwards to the inside and grapple the attacking leg. Next, perform a painful impact on the knee by pushing the shin downwards. Defense from a crescent kick with locking the knee. When the opponent attacks, do a double block, then turn the leg outwards. When the opponent is face down on the floor, lock the leg at the knee joint. Defense from a rear bear hug. After the opponent has bear hugged you, secure his hands and stomp on his foot. Next, twist his elbow and push the opponent away. After grabbing the opponent's hand, do a preemptive punch to the face, then squeeze the pressure point. Next, you will see how to impact a pressure point located on the inside of the elbow joint. Impacting the pressure point located on the outside of the elbow joint also provides a painful effect. Squeezing the lower part of the bicep makes an effective immobilization of the opponent's arm. Squeezing the upper part of the chest muscle. Next element, impact on the root of the neck's front muscle. Impacting the neck at the lower jaw. Impacting the armpit's pressure point. Pinching at the root of the front side thigh muscle gives a good painful effect. The following techniques are part of the group we refer to as the closure of the airway. Grabbing the neck using thumbs of both hands. Now you will see the impacting of the Adam's apple. Be careful while performing this technique, as the throat can easily be injured. Next element, firm grip of the neck. This is done using the forearms and the wrist. Airway closure by means of a flat hand punch to solar plexus. The punch is done with a flat hand in the solar plexus. Impact on the nerve center located at the armpit. The punch is done with the upper edge of the hand. It can also be done with the middle knuckle of the index finger. Punch to the groin using the upper edge of the hand. A punch to the inner part of the thigh is done with the upper part of the fist, which is also called the fist's eye. Finger punch to the root of the neck. Punching forearms pressure points. The effectiveness of this exercise depends on the precision of the hit. A punch to the pressure point located at the shoulder. Punch to the temple with the knuckle of the thumb. Punch with the middle knuckle of the index finger to the face nerve. Punch with the bent fingers to the upper lip. Punch with the index finger towards the root of the neck. Kick with the foot to the center of the shin. Heel kick to the knee. Shin kick to the outside thigh muscle. Straight palm blow to the groin. Straight fist punch to the solar plexus. Round fist blow to the lower ribs. Strike with the edge of the hand toward the root of the skull.